Blessings to all. My name is Max Mupese and welcome to Elevate the Mic. Today we have a special guest. I like to say special guest because I really mean it. The reason why I'm saying this is because he's an individual who wears many hats. We call him Mr. Versatile, Mr. Versatile. And it's the one and only Malik Shaheed. How you doing, man?
What's going on, man?
I'm great, man.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, that's amazing.
I like the way you pronounce versatile. You gotta say it the French way, versatile.
Right. Since we're in Montreal also, we got to take that in consideration,
That's
right?
right, that's right.
That's amazing. I looked at a lot of things you've done in the past.
Yeah.
You started off, if I'm not mistaken, as a barber at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
You also were a promoter.
Mm-hmm.
You wear really many different hats. You worked with different nonprofit organization. You also run a nonprofit organization, if I'm not mistaken.
Stars.
Right. That's great.
Thank you.
So now, when we look at everything you've accomplished so far and everything you keep on accomplishing, when it comes down to starting out in the entertainment industry, what inspires you to start in the entertainment industry, and how did you begin the journey?
I think what really inspired me about starting out in the entertainment industry is I'm from Little Burgundy. And Little Burgundy is a Harlem of the North. And Little Burgundy is where all the major jazz artists started. And then a lot of the train porters from the U.S. were coming to Little Burgundy because the train station was right next door. So I think that energy is really what Little Burgundy is about. And I feel that growing up in Little Burgundy, I was able to consume that energy and be around, people who inspired music in our city. Whether it was, The Wizard of Oz, DJ Fabian Ash, Prince Charles, Ricky D. These are all popular trendsetters in their times from Little Burgundy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, a lot of the people you mentioned are also entrepreneurs and were able to put people in position at a certain point.
Yeah.
Would you say that's something that shaped your entrepreneurial mindset in a way?
I think what shaped my entrepreneurship was the barbershop experience. Having my own barbershop in the basement, being able to collect money, being able to organize my schedule, being able to invest in my barbershop equipment. So that's why I feel where my entrepreneurship skills really started.
Okay, nice. Now, when you look at your entrepreneurship journey and what you're also doing with the kids and as a director of a nonprofit organization, how do you keep a certain balance in a way where you're not too business minded when you approach, a setting where there's fun in a way, and you also have to wear the hat of being an entrepreneur?
Max, you know what they call me? They call me YFL, Young for Life, right? So I got to bring that YFL energy everywhere I go, whether it's entertainment, whether it's working with the kids. So I always try to bring that balance, that young energy balance, because bringing that YFL, Young for Life energy keeps me really current and energized for anything I do. So that's really my motto, is being young for life, versatile, being a go-getter, and being a multitasker.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
Hope you trademarked that one, right?
Yeah.
You did?
We didn't trademark it. We didn't trademark it yet.
It's coming into fruition.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, when it comes down to the entertainment industry, a lot of people say, it's a snakes and ladder game. It's cutthroat, this, that, and the third.
It is.
How do you manage certain expectations, or how do you navigate between staying true to your vision and meeting certain expectations for the most part?
For me, it's really working my hardest at it, working with a team of people who understand the goals. But there's a lot of trials and tribulations, especially in Montreal. It's not hard. It's not easy, the entertainment industry in Montreal. It's very, very hard. You have two languages. You have different cultures. So it's pretty challenging, but I've been pretty successful in Montreal. So I'm pretty proud of my success, and I continue to elevate and transform myself over the years. So for myself, it's really being able to transform and adapt and reinvent the Malik Shaheed brand.
Now, for anybody who's listening to this right now, and here's the part where you say it's hard in Montreal, what do you think makes it hard for the most part if we look at today's generation, or even today's day and age? We're in 2023, there's internet, there's all kinds of ways to get exposure, but how do how would you say it's still hard for that person?
Well, you mentioned something very important. There's internet,
Right.
so you don't have to rely on trying to just be popular in Montreal. You have the internet, and I always tell people, get out there and travel. Don't limit your vision. Get out there and travel. See what's out there, and a lot of times people will appreciate you more outside of your hometown than your hometown. You know, because there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of jealousy.
And you duck it in a way.
Yeah, I avoid it. You know, I put my hater shades on, and I do what I got to do.
That's it. That's you preaching. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Now, if we look at some of the obstacles you've had to face, or like you mentioned, we talked about being it's how it's hard in Montreal. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you've had to face, or you're currently facing at the moment?
I mean, definitely being a black promoter, trying to promote urban music.
Right.
There's a lot of discrimination, language discrimination, and then just people using their privilege to take advantage of you. You know what I mean? And those are some of the things that I've taken on. But you have to be very strategic in the way you navigate those things, and I've been pretty strategic at doing it.
Got it. So you don't wear the victim shades, so to speak.
No, I mean I could, but that's just a waste of time and energy.
Yeah,
You know.
that's it. Brilliant. Now, can you share some insights on how do you prepare yourself for a creative process, whether it's organizing an event, working with children, or even being a director, because you also have to use your
Yeah.
creativity.
I think for me, it's putting the idea down months or years ahead of time and then gradually developing that idea. I like to always tell people you have to have a team around you, and you have to be able to understand what your team is missing. So I think I like basketball, so I like to use LeBron James as a great example. LeBron James understands how to build championship teams. He understands that he needs veterans, he needs young guys with energy, he needs a shooter, he needs a rebounder. So you have to be able to work and understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how you can work with a team that are able to fill in those gaps that you're missing. I think that's really, really key, is being able to work in a team and understand that you can't do it alone today. It's very, very difficult
Yes.
to be successful on your own. You really need to be able to work in a team environment. But I always tell people also, rely on yourself. Don't rely on others. If you want something done, get it done yourself. If you want to initiate something, you initiate it. Don't wait for others. One thing about me, Max, is I make the calls. I don't wait for calls. I make the calls. You know, I don't sit around try to be bougie and wait for the calls. No, I'm going to make the calls.
You cold called all day.
Yeah, I don't cold call,
But-
but when I say make the calls is I'm gonna initiate
Right. Okay.
to make something happen.
That's it. Okay. And you mentioned team, how it's important.
Very
There's
important.
a saying that says relationships are worth more than money. Could
That's
you
true.
could you elaborate on how relationships helped you as a promoter
Yeah.
in a certain way? Because there's also moments where you don't necessarily know if it's going to be a long-term relationship when you make a quick bag, so to speak, or a quick transaction with a person.
Yeah, I think a great example of that is having access to high-end venues in Montreal. And because I had a great network, a great relationship, a great reputation, myself and Ricky D, my partner, and my other partners were always the first ones to get certain venues where other promoters can't get because they don't have the relationship. Whereas we have the relationship because we built relationships over the years.
And could you give us a tip on how you were able to build those relationships? What are some first things you would have to focus on?
So don't burn your bridges. As much as someone may be an asshole to you, as much as someone may be ignorant to you, as much as someone may be racist to you, you have to always be calm and be professional about it. Because you never know when you're going to need that person down the line. And trust me, Montreal's like a village.
Right.
You're going to bump into that person or their associate where you're going to need them. So don't burn your bridges. And be professional and deliver a great product, a great service.
Hey, now you're talking. Okay. And if we look at how Montreal is known for being a music vibrant city.
Yes.
There's a lot of potential. There's the French side and the English side.
Hmm.
What do you think that is currently working at the moment that's making things better for the city
Hmm.
if we exclude the internet? And what do you think that could improve in a way?
I think right now the French hip hop is popping. It's from where it started to see where it is now. It's amazing to see that you have real local celebrity stars. The only challenge for the local stars is how do you transport your product internationally? How do you transport that to that francophonie? How do you get that to French Africa? How do you get that to France? How do you get it to the French Caribbean? How do you get it to the English market where they're going to appreciate it the way they appreciate Afrobeats, the way they appreciate reggaeton? You know what I mean? That's the key right now. And that's the challenge to get out that Quebec bubble.
Right.
Because you can only tour and do so many shows in Quebec until they get tired of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the key. How do you get to that francophonie internationale?
There's many names I thought about when you mentioned Montreal French scene is doing very well. And one thing I always thought about was how the identity is starting to be here. Like we're starting to see the identity if we listen to artists like Tizo for the most part. He raps in a certain way that is relatable because people talk the way he raps
Yes.
outside in the streets or whatnot. So would you say that's also something that's important? Not only how do you export the music, but the lyrics that you speak and certain things that you say that needs to talk to the people in a certain manner.
So Quebec rap is very tricky.
Right.
There's a lot of great talent in the hoods. There's a lot of great street rappers, and then there's a lot of I like to call them Québécois, the souche rappers.
Right.
So
Rap keb.
the rap keb.
Right.
But rap keb, I consider it everything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The challenge is if you do the street rap,
Right.
you're limited in terms of getting booked for festivals, getting booked for shows, getting on the radio, getting sponsorship, getting partnerships. If you're able to be a little more less vulgar in your expressions, and French rap is very deep, right? It's
Yes.
very lyrical.
Yes.
So that's really key. So it's not what you know, it's who you know and how you're able to export your brand. And I think that's the challenge right now with a lot of great street rappers is being able to export that to the mainstream.
Right. That's important. It goes back to relationships, you said, right? So who you know is also going to help you get in certain doors in certain environments.
Exactly. But also your comportement, the way you carry yourself, right?
It's the small details you got to focus on.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very, very important. As much as I want to say a lot of things out of frustration on social media, I can't say it because I have a brand.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's important for me to uphold that brand because I've been in commercials. I'm about to do a commercial coming up.
Amazing.
You know, I can't go talking craziness and, you know what I mean? I got to keep it very professional. And my style is all about educating and being positive.
That's it. That's what makes you Mr. Versatile, right?
Yeah, appreciate that.
Hey, that's good. Now, collaboration seems to be a significant part of your work, right?
Yes.
And how do you choose your collaborators, or even what do you value most in partnerships?
What I value most in partnerships is honesty, people who are hardworking, and people who can bring value to your product, your project, or your service that you're doing. Those are the key things I look for.
Okay. And how would you define value for the most part?
Value is bringing something that's going to help elevate the project. That's going to help elevate the service. That's going to help elevate the product that you're trying to push or promote. You know, just because you look good doesn't mean that your good looks is going to help elevate what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Hey, it could dilute the brand sometimes. You never know.
You know.
And could you share an experience you've went through as a promoter or even as an entrepreneur
Mm-hmm.
that made you doubt yourself or even second guess certain things you had to accomplish to later bounce back from it?
I think when I first started doing TV in the French market, um, being an Anglophone, being an English person was very tough. And I had to find a way to really use the whole franglais French mix. And that really helped my brand being able to be the king of franglais and being able to mix the French and English, but using expressions like, what up, les mecs et les dames, on est dans le building,
Right.
qu'est-ce qui se passe, it's about to go down. You see, being able to mix it, but make it look fly, fresh, and I was able to do that.
That would also confuse a lot of people from France when they show up. Like, what are they speaking? Is that
But you see, les mecs et les dames, I got that. Les mecs, I got that from people from France.
from France?
You know what I
Okay.
mean? They kept on saying that to me, les mecs. I didn't know what it was, but then I figured it out. So I'm gonna take that. You know what I mean? So there's a couple of French expressions I've taken and I've added to my repertoire. You
Okay.
know?
Got it. And could you share what are some strategies you utilize at this very moment when it comes to social media in a way to touch people? Because I know that you have an event coming up in the next week, if I'm not mistaken. So what are some strategies you utilize that you could share with the people?
I think for social media, the main thing is being consistent, having a plan, not being afraid to try things. So with social media, the algorithm is always changing. So you got to be able to try different times, whether it's starting at 8 a.m. in the morning, whether it's putting something out at 11:30 a.m. before lunch, whether it's putting something out around 3:30, 4 o'clock before people finish work, whether it's putting something up around 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night for those night owls. So you got to figure that out. And then the other thing is you got to figure out what you want to portray on social media. You know what I mean? What's your brand? What's your personality? Because you have to have a personality when you're on social media. You know what I mean? You can be calm, you can be hype, but people want to gravitate to something that they like. So being able to try to find the balance of your personality outside of social media with social media, and also people want to learn. So giving some type of knowledge, tip, insight is very key.
And what's a great lesson you've learned, or if ever you've had a mentor at one point, what's a lesson you've learned from your mentor that you keep in mind till this day?
A lesson I've learned, to be honest, I really haven't had that many mentors, but I say the biggest lesson is being professional. Don't burn your bridges. I think those are the key things. Professionalism, working hard, don't give up. Nothing's free in life. You got to come out here and work. WORK, and with a capital W.
Right.
You know what I mean? People think it's easy, but they only see the end product. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of work to get to that end product.
Right. We call it today's microwave society.
Yeah.
Everything's flashy and everything's instant gratification. Now, you've had moments where you not only lost inspiration. You told me about the days where you used to host that music blitz, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So how are some ways you get over creative blocks if ever you have to overthink and like, okay, you know what, I'm not sure about this idea. How am I gonna approach it? So what are some things that you actually do?
I mean, so Sundays is a day where I use Sundays really to prepare for the week, what I want to do, and really figure out, what's my brand? What am I doing? Where am I going? Who do I want to be? What's my target market? What's my next project? So sometimes you just got to really take time for yourself and really figure out what's going on, because there's a lot of noise around you, a lot of noise.
Yes.
So you got to figure out how to block that noise out and really hone in on what you want to do.
And what is it that you currently want to do?
So I think what I'm good at is reinventing myself, rebranding myself, and what I want to do is just bring again education, bring inspiration, but with a mix of hype and energy, and that YFLness, young for life, baby.
We're gonna get that trademark.
I can't get that; it's too popular. Young for life's too popular.
I have a few more questions. So, what is a goal that you're currently working on at the moment that you want the world to know, or even that you want the world to be inspired by?
So one of the things that's key is never let people know what your future projects or ideas are
Right.
until it's signed, sealed, and you know where you're going with it. Like I'm working on a major project that's coming on 2024 that's going to shake up the landscape. And people are going to say, Malik does it again? Like he don't stop. They're going to be shocked on this one. You know what I mean? But I'm working on 2 major projects. You know what I mean? But they're going to be shook when they see these 2.
Talk about it. Talk about
You
it.
know what I mean?
I want to end with this question. As something I always wondered, do you feel like you don't get enough recognition in the city?
Yeah, we all know that. You know what I mean? But it doesn't bother me anymore, right? Like I know what I got to do. You understand? And those who truly know who I am or meet me or been touched by me, they know who I am. You know what I mean? And for me, I find ways to recognize myself and to keep me current and to keep me motivated and to keep me inspired. I'm not worried about others say to me. And that's one thing is that the energy you put worrying about others, what others say, it can be very, very draining. So you got to be able to block all that out and really focus on what you got to do.
That's it. Any final words for the people?
Just be consistent, work hard, realize that there ain't nothing free in life, and you got to stay YFL. No matter what age you are, keep it young for life. You got to have that YFLness. Multitask. Be a go-getter. Don't wait for phone calls. Make the phone calls. Be the difference and work with a team. That's what I got to say.
Thank you for being here, Malik, man. It was a wonderful, amazing experience, and man, good success on everything.
Thank you for having me.
Love.
That's how we do. My man Max is working hard, man. Hard. We appreciate you.
Love. Appreciate it.